goodness. Yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we? Because Prince Harry at the moment is on a charm offensive, right? He's here in the UK for September 2025. He's visited his late grandmother's Queen Elizabeth II's grave. He's attending events for charity, etc. However, you really think this charm offensive is working? No, 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 no. After all the stories over the past couple of weeks of Haza allegedly, potentially meeting up with the King of Hazer and Megsi, potentially, allegedly perhaps going back into the royal family as part-time royals, Hazard's finally here in the UK and he's still as disliked as ever. And we are all seeing through his moves, right? So this trip has therefore turned into an absolute nightmare for Mexi, because if she thought that Azza could turn things around for them on his own in the UK during this fake royal tour, then she really needs to think again, because before he even got onto the plane, here's Hazer being caught murching his absolute backside off. Mim Nancy from Sidley Twins saying, Sussex Squad says this is the bag how he was murching. Now, I know you guys are excited for more, but before we delve into further discussion, if you haven't subscribed, come on guys, what are you waiting for? Hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell ASAP. So, now, oh yeah, there he is, about to go onto plane to get to the UK, and here is what he was merching. Mulberry, the Heritage Medium Clipper. As Truth Above All says here, this a-hole is merching the bag on the day he's supposed to honor his grandmother. Never forgive this piece of shiz. I can't wait to see what he'll merge on the day he's supposed to honor Diana. Now the Sussex Squad are trying to make out that this bag is sold out, but yeah, he really is not that good. And guess what he does, right? First thing he does when he lands into UK is to visit Queen Elizabeth II's grave and, send along his respects, this, that, and the other. But he made sure everyone knew about it. Like, seriously, of course he's going to visit Queen Elizabeth II whilst he's here, right? Let's be real. He's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't, right? However, to me, the only way that he could have done this and come out of it, so to speak, alive is, yeah, visit Queen Elizabeth II, pay your respects and whatnot, but don't let anyone know. Or if he really has to let everyone know after he's left the UK. But he couldn't do that, could he? And so everyone's seeing through his there. Everyone's also seen through his bullshites with his attendance at the Wellchild Awards last night. He tried to look like he's the old, playful, loving, cool Hazard that he was before Maggie attended the scene. Look at this right here. Here are the headlines going around all the newspapers right now. Oh, look at H. Look at him being so cool and so fun-like. Yes, this is what we remembered him as before Meiji entered the scene. Blah, 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 blah. Right, guys? Well, yeah, not everyone fell for that BS. As you can see with this headline right here from the Daily Mail, Harry's attempt to be a fun prince again is tragically ham-fisted and too little too late, royal experts claim. People are also questioning his suitability for Wellchild in the first place. Here we've got Royal Thoughts at Insightful Watch on X saying the following. Prince Harry's children seem to be separated from both their families, and the only glimpse their grandfathers and family members appear to get is when they're paraded on social media. This is why many would say Prince Harry is unsuitable for role at a children's charity. Can't argue with that logic. Really, can we? And as GB News is saying right here, they're trying to change the perception of Prince Harry, right? Team Sussex are trying to change the perception of Hazer and by extension Mexi, right? But there's a problem. And this is what GB News said in the royal family listening in and watching in to think it's 3 years today that the late Harry passed away. And that will weigh heavily on the hearts of many viewers watching this channel. Many of our listeners, Cameron, walk. It just seems inconceivable that Harry would not comfort his father on this day. Particularly, of course, having not even seen him since that cancer diagnosis. It's really tricky, Martin. And to be honest, whenever we cover Prince Harry on our channel, our viewers get in touch and our listeners get in touch and say why he's talking about Prince Harry. There is still quite a resentment, I think, amongst the British public towards Prince Harry. You look at the opinion polls, and he is third least popular member of the royal family, but I think he is wanting, perhaps, to change that. As you say, 3 years to the day that we lost Queen Elizabeth II. It was probably exactly 3 years ago that he was getting on a private jet alone trying to get to Balmoral in time to see Her late Majesty before she passed away. He didn't make it. Neither did the rest of the royal family. Prince William, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, and the rest of them on the RAF plane. And they didn't speak then. And Prince, the King, obviously, is at Balmoral. He is marking the accession day privately with the Queen. Prince William is kind of keeping calm and carrying on with the work he was doing this morning at the WI. And none of them give an absolute rat's ass a Prince Hazard at the moment, being here in the UK. Yeah, I'd certainly agree with that sentiment as well. Now this is the thing, yet again, he may have actually used this event, used Wellchild to freaking merch his backside off here. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, at the Wellchild Award 2025 in London, he's spotted wearing a Hugo Boss geometric pattern tie. I'm just asking for a friend here, but at the Wellchild Award 2025, did Hazard just try and merch his way into that thing again with this tie situation? Like I said, I'm just asking for a friend. Now, this was all yesterday, the day, as of the recording of this video, 9th of September 2025, he attended a community recording studio in Nottingham. But this is the thing, right? As you're seeing this video play out, the next In-Visitor game supposedly is happening in Birmingham in a couple of years' time in 2027. However, there's nothing I've seen to suggest that he'll actually be visiting that city during his current visit here. Shine with you. Why is that? What the deuce is going on? Now, what we're seeing here overall, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, is Hazard trying to follow a step-by-step guide of the anatomy of a charm offensive, right? He's trying to do things in the UK here to try and turn opinion around for him and Mexi. It's not working. And that's Meg's biggest nightmare right now, because what he's doing, it's all fake. It's not authentic. And that's why he and Meggie will always lose. Now, thanks to HRH Lady J Onyx for sharing this. This is really, really interesting. And so this is the anatomy of a charm offensive Prince Harry's UK visit. So, on day 1, September 7th, 2025, the build-up. So before Haz has even landed, the groundwork's been laid. Major outlets carrying stories of its excitement and fresh start to visit blah, blah, blah. Day 2, September the 8th, 2025, the Queen's anniversary. Harry arrives on the most symbolic of dates, the 3rd anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's death. Almost immediately, word spread that he had privately laid a wreath at a grave in Windsor. But as with so many of his private gestures, it swiftly found its way into the press. He then attends the Wellchild Awards. The reporting is that he's in a good headspace, showing warmth, compassion, blah blah blah. But the reconciliation drumbeat continues. Will he see the king? Is a reunion possible? Blah blah blah. Day 3, so today, as of the recording of this video, September the 9th, 2025, using charity as theater. And so Hazard's engagements extend to Nottingham, where he visits youth and community projects. They draw deliberate parallels to his mother, Princess Diana, noting his focus on vulnerable children and social issues. And so the reconciliation narrative is shifted. Also, now no longer framed as likely, it's now framed as not impossible. This careful hedging allowed the press to keep the storyline alive without admitting it had been based on flimsy speculation. And then day 4, tomorrow, September the 10th, 2025, is all about closing the circle. And so as Hazard's visit comes to a close, they then round off the narrative in the press. Stories highlight his poignant tributes, his dedication to service, his compassionate engagements, blah blah blah. Conspicuously absent is any actual reconciliation with King Charles, with Prince William remaining distant and the family rift remaining. Let's just be honest with each other for a moment. You and I. This isn't a charm offensive. This is a strategic military campaign planned by a Hollywood general sitting in a Montecito war room, and the soldier on the ground hasn't got a clue what he's doing. It's Meghan's biggest nightmare because she sent her puppet out to win the hearts and minds of the British people. And he's not just failing, he's actively setting fire to any last shred of goodwill that might have been left. Every single move is so transparent, so painfully calculated, it's insulting. She must be watching this unfold, pulling her hair out because her one-man show has forgotten his lines, and the audience isn't buying the performance for a single second. It all started before he even took off. That mulberry bag. I mean, honestly. You are flying to the UK on the anniversary of your grandmother's death, a trip that is supposedly about solemn remembrance and bridge building, and your first move is to give a free advert to a luxury handbag company? It just screams tacky. It screams everything is for sale, including, it seems, his grief. A real prince, a man of substance like our Prince William, would never be caught dead doing something so crass. William understands that service is silent. It's about the cause, not the brand. For Harry, everything is a brand, and every moment is an opportunity to monetize. It's the rotten Hollywood influence that has poisoned everything he touches. And then the visit to Queen Elizabeth II's grave. Let's deconstruct that for what it was, a photo op without a photo. He knew, and his PR team knew, that he had to do it. But the way it was handled tells you everything about the motivation. A grandson consumed by genuine grief, wanting a quiet moment with his beloved granny, would have gone there with no fanfare. He would have ensured nobody knew. The news might have leaked out weeks later from a groundskeeper, a truly private moment. But no, within minutes, it seems, the press wires were humming with the news. Harry's poignant private tribute. It's a total contradiction. You cannot have a private tribute that the entire world knows about an hour later. It was an act of performative mourning, designed to generate headlines that painted him as the dutiful grandson. But we see through it. We see it for the hollow gesture it was, a box-ticking exercise on a PR checklist. All it did was remind us of how much he must have hurt the late Queen in her final years, with his endless public attacks on the family and the institution she dedicated her life to. Then comes the Wellchild Awards, the attempt to resurrect fun Prince Harry. Oh, it's just tragic to watch. He's there, pulling faces, trying to be the cheeky chappie we all once knew and genuinely loved. But that man is gone. He doesn't exist anymore. That old Harry was authentic because he was part of something bigger than himself. He had a role, a purpose, and the loving support of a family. This new version is a hollow echo, an actor playing a part he no longer understands. It feels forced, as the experts said, ham-fisted. It's like watching a bad tribute act. You remember how great the original was, and this version just makes you sad. The real tragedy is that he probably thinks it's working. He probably thinks he's charming everyone, while in reality, people are just looking on with a mixture of pity and contempt, thinking, look what she's made him do. Look what he's become. And the question of his suitability for a children's charity is so potent. How can you be the face of an organization that supports families when you've publicly detonated your own? When your own children are reportedly growing up isolated from their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins? It's a breathtaking hypocrisy that isn't lost on anyone. And what is the royal family's response to all this theater? A dignified, powerful silence. That, right there, tells you everything. As Harry scrambles for attention, King Charles is at Balmoral where he should be, quietly marking the anniversary of his mother's passing and his own accession with Queen Camilla. He is being a monarch. And Prince William? He's getting on with the job. He's out there, calm, focused, representing the crown, supporting the Women's Institute, being the steadfast future king we all know and admire. They are not engaging. They are not being drawn into his circus. Their silence is the loudest message of all. You are irrelevant to us. Your games do not matter. We have a country to serve. This complete and utter indifference is probably what infuriates Harry and Meghan the most. They thrive on reaction, on drama. To be simply ignored, to be treated as a non-entity while the real royals continue their important work is the ultimate snub. It proves he is no longer a player on the main stage. He's a sideshow, and a rather sad one at that. This whole trip, this so-called anatomy of a charm offensive, is nothing more than a carefully scripted reality show episode. Day 1, the build-up. Day 2, the performative grief. Day 3, using his mother's legacy as a prop. It's all so predictable. Drawing parallels to Diana is a classic move from their playbook. It's an attempt to cloak himself in her sainthood, to borrow her compassion and her popularity. But he is not his mother. Diana's compassion was genuine. It came from the heart. His feels like it comes from a publicist's memo. And the final act, the closing the circle, will be a press release full of empty words about his dedication to service and poignant tributes, all while the one thing that would have shown genuine change, actual reconciliation, is completely absent. He will fly back to California with a portfolio of staged photos and positive-sounding headlines generated by his own team, but the rift with his family will be just as wide, if not wider, than before. He achieved nothing of substance. It's Meghan's nightmare, because this proves that no amount of PR spin can fix what is fundamentally broken. They can't manufacture authenticity, they can't fake sincerity, and they cannot trick the British public, who can spot a fraud a mile away. He came, he merched, he postured, and he failed. And our royal family, our king, our queen, and our magnificent Prince and Princess of Wales continue to soar above it all with grace, dignity, and a profound understanding of what real service looks like. So, what's your take on all this? Am I being too harsh, or do you see through this whole charade just like I do? Is this the biggest PR own goal you've ever seen? Let me know everything you're thinking down in the comments below. I always love reading them and getting this conversation going. If you agree, please give this video a huge thumbs up, share it with everyone who needs to see the truth, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-ta, and bye for now.